Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sizzling with Sherry. And you're not in the right motion. You're not in the right spot. Let me move you. That's going to be a little bit better. Now I don't have to lean so far over. Anyway, welcome back to my kitchen. So tonight we are going to do freezer meals. The whole idea behind a freezer meal is that you can plan ahead of time, per se, make out a menu for, let's say, the month. Okay, that's just an extended period. And put those things in the freezer so that you don't have to go to the grocery store every week wondering what you're going to buy, what's for dinner every night. So you've got some idea of what you're going to have for dinner, even if you do this once a week. The idea here is that each night you can go down to the freezer, you can go to the freezer and pull out a bag that says, okay, this is stroganoff, and that's what we're going to work on today, is some beef stroganoff. So that with that, you know you've got everything in place for that particular meal. It's a really good idea. I love it. I swear by it. I do it often. Not all the time. But, you know, it is what it is. Now, with that being said, when our lockdown is over, this is a great thing to do with friends. You can get some new recipes that way. Invite 3 friends, you know, for instance, and have them each bring a recipe. You guys can shop, and each person has a job for that, so that one person will pick up the meats, one person will pick up the veggies, that kind of a concept. And so not everybody's doing everything for themselves. And you can share so that you will each get a meal from that particular menu. So you'll get one of my meals, I'll get one of your meals, and I'll get one of our third person's meals, so that we can all try new things. But beef stroganoff, this is a family favorite. My mother used to make this all the time, and ironically it came out of a cookbook that came with her crock pot so many years ago. So with that being said, what you do want to do is, I know you can make this on the stove. I've never done it, but the recipe is very, very simple. I make it often enough that I don't usually follow the recipe because I know what goes in it. So I had to pull it out. But the idea is here with a freezer meal, you're going to get a large zip top bag. In that, you've got a package. This is my stew beef from the butcher shop. So that this will go in my large zip top bag. Which, by the way, I would suggest you mark on the bag that this is stroganoff, so you know what the meal is. Okay? Now, in this meal, you also need some different seasonings. And yes, many of them are pantry seasonings, so you don't necessarily have to put these in your particular freezer. But again, if you're sharing this with other people, they'll want to take some of this stuff home too. So it calls for bouillon, beef bouillon. I do not buy the cubes any longer. In part, I found this just works a little bit better for me because we are a smaller family. So anyway, I do have ground bouillon. The idea there is, this is something you're going to go ahead and put, I would say, a snack size bag, so that you will portion out however much of this you need into the zip top bag. There we go. Now, yes, if you're using cubes, just drop one of the cubes in. You're fine. And now, with that being said, if you kind of liking the recipe and you want a copy of it, down below type in share. I'll make sure I get you a copy of the recipe. So with that, then it also has Worcestershire sauce. And yep, I know it takes just a little bit. But this is, again, it'll go in the bag. And see, all of the seasonings are going in together. So if I get the beef bouillon wet, it's not a big deal because it's all going in the pot together. So I have that, and I'm going to stand it up right here so it doesn't fall out. It calls for some ketchup. Shake it up. We'll put this in the bag. Oops. It's making noises, going everywhere. And that's about what I need. Okay, now, as I make a mess on my bag, I'll wipe that off. And so all of my liquids are in this particular bag. Zip it up. There we go. We've got a nice tight bag, sealed up. That is going to go in the large bag with the other items, with your stew beef. And I got some on my recipe. There we go. Okay. Now, get that out of our way. The recipe also calls for chopped onion. I usually keep my onion chopped in the freezer so that what I would do is pull out my bar board and I grab a knife. Remember we sliced some of the onion the other day? So this is some of that onion. And I'm just going to dice it up because I have not put this in the freezer yet. That's a project for this week. But this is one of the fun things because you also need garlic in here. Now, the recipe, with that being said, the recipe calls for garlic salt, okay? Again, you don't necessarily, I do not use salt. I do not use garlic salt. I use whole garlic cloves. This is a tub of whole peeled garlic that I got from the produce store down the street, the local produce grocery store, Sweetberry. I got this whole container of already peeled because another day this week I'm going to show you a way to easily make sauce. So I need a garlic clove. So we'll take, you can always put this in another sandwich bag. I think this size bag is a little bit easier. Put that in there. Put that in there. And we'll drop the onion down in here. And yes, I need more onion than that. But I want to show you what we're doing as I throw some on the floor. I'll get it. So that goes there for the moment. So you'll get all of your appropriate items in here. Zip this up. And that was the one thing I didn't put in there. Shame on me. I can open it up again. Okay. So as we're going through, okay, I don't use garlic salt. Bouillon has salt in it. So I don't need to add more salt. So if I was going to use a powder, I would use a garlic powder, not a garlic salt. I forgot to put the pepper in there because it does call for some ground pepper. So you know what, we'll pull this back out. This is ground pepper. I make fresh ground pepper on a regular basis. That's about how much it needs. Measure it out, put it in here. Zip that back up. And you're done. So we'll get this over here, out of our way. The onion I'm done with. Close it up because it will make you cry. Okay, so you have beef stroganoff in a bag. This is in the freezer. All you need to do is have in your pantry noodles, which is traditional. I personally have a wheat intolerance, so I use rice. Again, it's a pantry staple. So I don't need to put it in the bag. I don't need to measure it out. It's already in the cupboard. Dinner for one day of the week is done. Pull it out, defrost it, cook it, you're good to go. So Excuse me, sinuses. So, same concept. This is a package of ground chicken. My butcher does ground chicken. They started doing that for another customer who requested it. They had some leftover, put it in the freezer case, and sure enough, people started buying it. They do this on a regular basis. My daughter has decided that she likes our tacos better with ground chicken than she does with ground beef. Okay, I make tacos with ground chicken now. But same thing. That will go into a bag for, let's say, enchiladas. That's another one I like to do this week. Now the meatloaf. I had made meatloaf previously. I got several pounds. I mixed it all together. I portioned it. These are all meatloaf. In fact, I want to take one over to my dad so that this is one evening's meatloaf meal. All I have to do is take it out and defrost it. And then I need side dishes. So, you know, that's one of those fun things. Now, the other thing I would like to do this week is to do a fundraiser for Feeding America. If you are at all interested in that, in the comments below, type fund, and I will be sure to get you involved in that. And remember, if you want the recipe, beef stroganoff, it goes in the crock pot. I mean, you put it in there, dinner's done when you get home. You can't beat that. And, you know, so put share in the comments, and I'll be sure to share the recipe with you. And we will get everything taken care of for you. So with that, and of course my alarm's going off. It is. But I just wanted to touch base with you today, show you my ideas for freezer meals. And then tomorrow, I would like to work with you on sauce, pasta sauce, to be specific. And that's what I'm going to use the garlic for. And we can talk about that tomorrow. It's a really simple thing I learned from my mother-in-law. She is the sweetest little Italian lady. I love her to pieces. But with that being said, I think my time is up for tonight. I've shared everything with you that I wanted to share. I want to thank you so much for stopping in to spend some time with me today. And I hope to see you again tomorrow. In the meantime, I want you to stay home, be safe. We'll get through this together. Have a lovely evening.